All right, welcome everyone. Ready to dive deep into SEO in 2025.
Always ready to explore the future of search.
Our crystal ball for today, a blog post by French SEO expert, Wow Sibo. Catchy name, right?
Definitely stands out. And the post itself is pretty bold, SEO. 5 tips to improve your natural referencing in 2025.
No holding back. So what's the big takeaway? Are we ditching keywords altogether?
Not quite, but it's not just about keywords anymore.
Right, right. It feels like SEO is becoming, well, more human. Ironic, huh?
Exactly. The post highlights how AI is now essential for a good SEO strategy, but not in the way some people might fear.
Yeah, I've seen some of that AI-generated content floating around, pretty soulless stuff. So how should we be using AI in 2025?
Think of AI as your research assistant. It can analyze, search trends, seeing what people actually look for, not just what we think they search.
Okay, so more precise keywords. Maybe even content ideas we haven't thought of.
You got it. There are tools that scan the web for topics your audience is buzzing about, gives you a head start.
Right.
But
There's got to be a catch.
Google's algorithms, they're getting smarter. They can spot AI-generated content that's just, regurgitating stuff. No originality.
So no more plugging keywords into an AI writer and hitting publish.
Definitely not. AI is a tool. It enhances your creativity, not replaces it.
Phew, that's a relief. So we use AI to uncover those insights, fine-tune our approach.
Exactly. Then you, the human, take over. Craft that narrative, add your voice, connect with your audience.
Makes sense. Feels like the human touch is becoming more valuable, not less, as AI gets better.
Absolutely. AI does the heavy lifting, frees you to focus on what makes you unique, your storytelling, your passion.
This reminds me of that article about AI personalizing websites, like having a virtual concierge tailoring the experience.
Interesting, right? AI impacting how we create content and how we search for it leads us to the next big thing, voice and visual search.
People aren't just typing into a box anymore. They're talking to their devices, searching with images. I do it all the time. How do we optimize for that?
For voice, you gotta think like your audience speaks. Longer, more conversational phrases.
So less best pizza near me. More, hey Siri, find me the best pizza in my neighborhood.
Exactly. Anticipate those conversational queries. Work them into your content, meta descriptions, and for visual search.
Those descriptive alt tags and file names for images become even more important.
You got it. Like giving Google a pair of glasses to see your images. And don't forget good old-fashioned image compression.
Right. Nobody wants to wait for a huge image to load, especially on their phone.
Speed is still king. Speaking of user experience, something in the blog post really resonated with me.
Let's hear it. Is this where it all comes together?
It is. The post says Google's moving beyond just keywords and backlinks. They're looking at behavioral signals.
How people interact with a website. Time spent on a page, bounce rate, click-through rate.
All of that. It's not enough to just attract visitors, gotta keep them engaged.
Makes sense. I've clicked away from so many sites that were slow, confusing, or just plain ugly.
Exactly. Create content that's relevant, A&D engaging, easy to consume.
So if a website frustrates ME, Google's probably taking notes, right?
You bet. Optimize for humans, not just search engines. And that leads us to content strategy.
Content is still king, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this blog post, it kind of hints that the crown's a little different now.
Good analogy. We're moving from quantity to quality and relevance. Google wants to see expertise, in-depth coverage. The post calls it cluster content.
Okay, cluster content. Intriguing. Break it down for me.
Imagine you're writing about, let's say, SEO in 2025. That's your main page, your pillar content. Then you have subpages, the clusters.
Diving deeper into specific aspects, AI for SEO, voice search optimization, things like that.
Precisely. It's a knowledge hub. Everything connected, making sense for users and Google.
Love it. And beyond blog posts, we're talking video, audio, infographics, keep things interesting.
Exactly. It's about creating an immersive experience, and that's where structured data comes in.
Okay, structured data. This one always makes me feel a little lost. Help me out here.
Think of it like labels for your content. Helps search engines understand what it's about. Like organizing your files, you wouldn't just dump everything in one folder.
So structured data, it's those labels for my website, helps Google understand what each piece of content is, where it fits.
Right, and this is huge E with rich search results. Those eye-catching snippets at the top of the page.
Oh yeah, those. Way more appealing than just a wall of blue links.
Exactly. Structured data helps your content appear in those snippets, boosting visibility, getting those clicks.
So it's not just about ranking high, it's about standing out, making your content irresistible.
Precisely. You can use structured data for articles, products, events, FAQs, almost anything.
Okay, I'm starting to see the light. It's like organizing your website for both users A and D search
You
engines.
got it. Well-structured, easy to navigate, packed with valuable content. That's the goal.
Wow, we've covered a lot. AI, voice search, user experience, content strategy, structured data. SEO in 2025 is a whole new world.
And we're just getting started.
We've laid the groundwork, but this SEO landscape, it's changing so fast.
It really is, and this blog post just shows how important it is to stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah, our French SEO expert, he really paints a picture of 2025, balancing technology and that human element.
Yeah, finding that balance, right? Leveraging those tools like AI and structured data, but always remembering it's about the user.
Right, meeting them where they are. It's like SEO is less about manipulating algorithms and more about truly understanding your audience.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
And to do that effectively, we have to understand how search behavior is evolving, especially with voice and visual search.
Yeah, the blog post hints at some really interesting trends on the horizon.
Well, just think about how much more we're using voice search now. It's everywhere from finding information to, controlling our homes. It's changing how we interact with the internet.
I know I use it more and more these days, so convenient. But how does that shift change SEO?
We have to optimize for natural language. People
Mhm.
talk differently than they type. They use longer phrases, more conversational.
So less best pizza near me and more like, hey, Google, where can I find the best pizza in my neighborhood?
Exactly. You've got to understanding the intent. And as AI gets better at processing natural language, those search results are going to get even more personalized and sophisticated.
It's all connected, isn't it? AI voice search user experience.
It is. And we can't forget about visual search. The blog post highlights how much people are using images to find information, products, experiences.
All the time, especially when I don't even know how to describe what I'm looking for. Like if I see a great pair of shoes, I could just snap a picture and find them online.
Exactly. And as visual recognition technology gets better, visual search is just going to become more and more integrated. Think about it, pointing your phone at a landmark and getting instant information or a plant to identify it.
They are, and that means optimizing our content for visual search, thinking about how our images, videos, even our website design are seen by search engines.
We need to learn a new visual language for SEO. I like that. As AR and VR become more mainstream, we can expect even more immersive search experiences, virtually walking through a store before you go or experiencing a travel destination.
Wow, online shopping is never going to be the same, but does this mean traditional websites are going to be obsolete?
That's a great question. And I think the answer is more complicated than just yes or no. They'll still be important, but their role will change. Maybe they'll become more like hubs connecting users to different experiences and information.
So less static pages and more dynamic content that adapts to the user.
You got it. And that goes back to user experience. The blog post really emphasizes that SEO in 2025 is about making a website a destination and experience people want to engage with.
So it's not just about getting to the top of the search results page. It's about creating something memorable, something that stands out.
It really is. It's about building a brand people trust, a website that provides value, a content strategy that resonates.
Which brings us to the question, how do we keep up with all this change? It feels like SEO is constantly shifting.
It can feel that way, but remember, SEO is a marathon, not a sprint. We have to constantly be learning, adapting, evolving our strategies.
So how do we stay ahead of the game?
Our French SEO expert gives some great advice. It's all about being curious. Keep experimenting with new tools. Embrace change. Don't be afraid to try new things.
Okay, I'm ready for the challenge, but where do we go from here?
Oh.
How do we apply this to our own strategies?
That's the big question, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we're diving into in the final part of our deep dive. Get ready for some practical tips and advice for optimizing your website for the future of search.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We've explored so much AI, voice search, user experience, even that cluster content idea. Where do we go from here?
Well, it's time to get practical, right? How do we actually use this stuff on our own websites?
Exactly. We've got the big picture, but what are those concrete takeaways? The things that'll make a difference.
One thing that really struck me in this blog post was how SEO, it's becoming part of everything in digital marketing. It's not just its own thing anymore.
You're right. We can't just throw some keywords on a page and call it a day. It's about our content, our design, social media, all of it.
It's about aligning everything with those SEO goals, getting everyone on the same page.
Like an orchestra, right? Everyone playing their part to make this beautiful website that's user-friendly, A&D, search engine friendly.
I like that. And speaking of content, our French SEO expert reminds us that content is still king, but the crown's a little different now.
It's not just about how MDH content we create, it's about quality, relevance, and tailoring it to our audience. We talked about cluster content earlier, but how do we actually do that?
Think of it as an ecosystem. You've got your pillar content, that main piece covering a broad topic. Then the cluster pieces go deeper, each linking back to that pillar.
So if my main page is gardening for beginners, my clusters could be choosing the right soil, watering techniques, common pests, and they all link back to that main page.
Exactly. Google sees how much you know, and users find what they need. And don't forget, diversify.
Right. Go beyond text, video, audio, infographics, even make it interactive. It's about that immersive experience we talked about.
And that's where structured data comes in. Those labels you add, they help search engines understand your content and show it off in those rich snippets.
Structured data still feels a little mysterious. Any tips for getting started?
There are some good tools out there. Schema.org is a good resource to understand the different types of schema you can use. And Google's structured data testing tool can check if you've done it right.
Okay, good to know. Feels like we've got a whole new set of tools for SEO success in 2025. But before we wrap up that quantum referencing thing, any thoughts on that?
Definitely intriguing. It's hard to say for sure, but it seems like it's about making search almost instant, information at the speed of light.
Sounds like sci-fi, but then again, a lot of what we're talking about today probably did just a few years ago.
True. The digital world keeps changing. Who knows what's coming next? But SEO, it's always going to be important, helping people connect with the information they need.
So as we say goodbye to our French SEO expert and this deep dive into the future, what's the one big thing our listeners should take away?
SEO isn't just a technical checklist anymore. It's about the big picture. Understanding your audience, creating great content, and making sure search engines see the value in what you're doing.
It's about adapting, being curious, experimenting, and never forgetting that human element, building trust, and creating those meaningful online experiences.
Well said. As we go into 2025 and beyond, let's embrace the challenge, stay curious, and never stop learning.
Happy optimizing, everyone.